Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the show, Lunch Bros Podcast, episode number 164. I am Brendan. UFC Fight Night. Cheeto Vera versus Dominic Cruz. Ooh, boy. Cheeto can fucking crack, man. Wow. What a fight. David Onama versus Nate Landwehr. Fun, sloppy fight right there. Yazmin Jauregui. Oh, boy. Versus Yazmin Lucindo, Devin Clark versus Murzakanov, and we'll talk about the rest of the main card here. So if that's what we're going to do, this is the main card. I cover the prelims. That's in the next video. If you're looking for Bellator or PFL, those in the last one. So if you do like those things, if you like all the stuff I mentioned, subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. That was a weird intro. Let's get going. All right. Dominic Cruz, doing a good job in this fight until he wasn't. Marlon Vera just knocked him clean the fuck out with a left high kick. An impressive kick. It's odd to watch these fights. We'll go round by round on this one. It's odd to watch these fights with Vera and imagine that he wins more than he doesn't at the high level. So is Dominic Cruz what he used to be? Obviously not. He just can't take a punch. He used to be able to. He's always had a decent chin. Never, he wasn't freaking Darren Elkins or anything, but he could always take a punch. Lately, he just can't, and his movement is still good and good enough to keep him in the elite level of fights, but it just didn't cut. It just didn't cut it. So Cruz was actually throwing really hard kicks and hooks. But Vera was he sat him down with the left hand in this first round. And then, look at the total strikes, 21-9 in favor of Dominic Cruz. And a lot of those were hard strikes. I actually gave that first round to Cruz. Second round, more of the same, only this time Marlon Vera didn't get him down. Cruz was landing really well. It was hard to imagine that Cruz would hit this hard this much and land like that, and he was just doing it. He got a ton of volume out there, and Vera essentially landed nothing in the second round. So I had him up 20-18. Third round was pretty similar to the second, but Vera started to find his mark a little bit more. And then I thought because he obviously was landing the harder shots when he did land, I did give him that round. So I had it 29-28 in favor of Cruz. So if this was a 3-round fight, Cruz wins. But it's not. It's a 5-rounder, arguably the right way to go when talking about fighters at the elite level. And Vera landed a left high kick just to end the fight. This guy loses 95% of the fights that he's in lately, and it doesn't matter because he wins it with one big shot. It's cool to see, I guess. He lost to Jose Aldo. He's got that bullcrap loss to Song Yadong. He's really his real only loss in the past 4 years. Yeah, 4 years basically is to Jose Aldo. So I mean, looking at the rankings, where are you going to put him now? Where do you put him? Because he just beat number 8. He was number 5. You can't put him above Jose Aldo for that. You might be able to put him above Corey Sandhagen. I mean, if this division wasn't all messed up because of Dillashaw sitting out and Sterling essentially, beating Yan, you know what? Marlon Vera versus Peter Yan. That's the way to go. That's what I want to see. Yeah. Oh, by the way, all of these fights are going to be timestamped in the description down below. If you're only interested in a certain fight, all of them were going to be timestamped. So if you want to do that, click to that one, get there really quick. TJ Dillashaw is still an excellent fighter. I think he deserves a title shot based off of his last win, even though he's been sitting out for a while, and I'm a little bit biased because I am a huge TJ Dillashaw fan. And I understand you can say about PEDs and cheating and all that other stuff. Listen, I've said my piece on this before. I haven't said it recently because he hasn't fought that recently. It's been over a year. and I don't think I really spoke to it that much last time I saw him fight. The way I put it is that TJ Dillashaw is one of the few guys in the sport who flat out just came out, apologized for doing what he's doing, explained why he was doing it, and he's been demonized for it. When you have guys like Anderson Silva who pop, Yoel Romero who pop, you've got freaking, you name it. I just named a name too, but there's a whole bunch more of people who have popped for this stuff. Freaking Brian Ortega, nobody brings that up. Like he just flat out popped for shit, and no one brings that up at all. He just gets congratulated for being an excellent fighter. Why doesn't anybody bring that up? I'm guessing there's a lot of reasons, but I think the biggest one is that TJ Dillashaw actually addressed what was happening. He came out and said he did it. Then he came out and he apologized for it, and he said why he did it, and he explained it, and I commend him for that. And I don't give him a pass for breaking the rules, nor do I give Ortega a pass for breaking the rules or anybody else. It's more like, if you are so ignorant to the sport and professional athletics to think that a majority of the people in this sport or any sport aren't doing things that are technically banned by the organization, good on you. I'm glad that you can live your childhood fantasy of, these guys being superheroes and the peak of athleticism with everything being above board, and I'm glad that you can live like that. But I can't, because I know how it works, both from personal experience being in athletics as well as firsthand seeing it happen, and then secondhand hearing about it from professional athletes. People have shared the stage, shared the octagon, shared the cage, the hardwood, the field, whatever sport it is. I've heard from enough of them to know. And it's pretty obvious at this point. Like, people come out and they're very open about it, especially when they retire and there's no there will be no ill effects on their monetary gain going forward. Then they come out and admit it. I mean, look at what happened with Daniel Cormier. I know it wasn't PED involved, but he flat out came and said he cheated on the weight scale when he was fighting against Anthony Rumble Johnson. He said he cheated. And everybody just laughed it off. Like, ha, 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 ha. Nobody's going to bring that up. Nobody's going to hold that against him. I mean, it's fucking stupid. Like, you cannot be this two-faced and this, two-sided. Not him, right? Just the fans and the people in general. Pick a thing. All right, Marlon Vera looks excellent. I'm not a fan of his pissy attitude, his piss and moan type of thing. I thought he was getting absolutely destroyed by Frankie Edgar, getting taken down, and he was bitching about it instead of doing something about it. It's like, that's the stuff I don't like. I don't like his attitude. I don't like the fact that he'll flick people off after the fight, mid-fight. And it's not in a way where it's Nate Diaz style and he has respect for other people. He doesn't. He's just a sourpuss and he has a bad attitude, right? So I'm not a fan of that. But you can't argue with the guy's skill, man. He's good. He can take a punch. And, he's not as bad as Derek Lewis. Obviously, he's very active, and he pushes the pace, and he moves forward. But it's almost, Derek Lewis-esque with the output. Obviously, I know that's a hyperbolic. He's not that bad. I mean, he's throwing 19 shots, 21 shots, and then he ends up outstriking him in the last round. But he's throwing plenty of offense. It's just he starts very slow, and takes abuse, a little bit of abuse, just waiting for a shot. And that's what Derek Lewis does. He waits for one big shot to change the momentum of the fight. So that's in the way they're similar. Other than that, I think Marlon Vera is a very well-rounded mixed martial artist. He's an excellent fighter. And regardless of how I feel about his personal attitude and the way he talks and acts or any stuff like that, I can do nothing but give him credit for how good of a fighter he is. He's incredible. Just we'll take one more look at his record again. But he's basically gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 11-1, essentially, because this one loss doesn't fucking count. 11-1. And in the UFC, his UFC record is fucking phenomenal. Look at this shit. Guys, look at this. I mean, he's got a loss to John Lineker back in the day, an old loss to Davey Grant in which he recently rectified. Dude, he's good. He's good, man. He's good. I think, if this division wasn't screwed up, I'd put him in there for a title shot. As far as Cruz, I mean, unless he officially retires, I'm going to withhold my opinion. All right, let's talk about Onama Yo Mama. Nate Landwehr versus David Onama. Look at the swing in this. Blue on the screen for those guys who are just listening to this. The striking numbers flip heavily from round 1 to round 2. And I'll explain why. And if you didn't watch the fight, please go watch it before I spoil the shit out of it. Please go watch this fight. It is incredible. Nate Landwehr, David Onama, great fight. Co-main of it should have been basically this was in the excitement of it. I guess you could call it the co-main event. It was not called that though. Interesting. Nate Landwehr gets the majority decision win. We had one dissenting judge, Mike Bell, giving it a 28-28. I am not mad at that. I can understand where he's coming from with the last round going to Onama. And I will explain again here why that is okay. But you often hear, if you listen to me, you often hear me talking about not liking guys who are sloppy, like a sloppy mess fight. There's a difference when there's sloppy heavyweights doing a grapple fest when all they're doing is resting, and sloppy throwing punches and doing this stuff. They're both sloppy. Okay? I'm not excusing poor technique, but one of them is much more fun to watch. This was one of those things, especially because there was such a change in momentum. So, also real fun, David Onama got warned about his fingers being out 3 fucking times, but didn't have a point taken. Obviously, he didn't poke him in the eyes, but that's breaking the rules as it's written. So whatever. Onama landed a really big right hand that dropped Nate, and he mounted him, and then what was crazy is he mounted him, landed all this damage. I mean, look at this damage, 46-21 in favor of Onama. But with 90 seconds left, Landwehr gets on top, and then he starts doing damage. This is why I wouldn't give this a 10-8 for Onama, because even though it was close, you could have argued that maybe he could have stopped it at one point. I'm glad he didn't, because it was he clearly wasn't out yet. I could understand maybe giving this a 10-8, and I initially wrote it as a 10-8 based off of perception. But if you think about it, it shouldn't be, because Landwehr didn't. He came back a little bit. I mean, it's 46-21, so not a complete blowout. And on top of that, Landwehr landed some good shots and got on top and had some control time. So because Onama hits really hard and did what he did in that round, I definitely give him that round. It was close to a 10-8. The second round here, dude, Onama just looks so tired, as usual, right? Onama has horrible cardio. We know this. He's got this thing where he has bad cardio, and he'll sprint for 2 seconds, and he'll look impressive, and everybody flips out because he hits real hard. But he has garbage cardio. You want to beat the guy, this is how you do it. So Landwehr, started just peppering him and then putting him down, took him down. He was just beating the shit out of him. At the end of round 1, Onama had nothing in the tank. And then this is a 10-8 round. 43-8 in favor of Landwehr, in which Onama did nothing in round 2. So that's actually a 10-8. So I had it 19-18. Yeah, wait, no. 19-19? Yes. Wait a minute. No, it's not. No, 19-18. Yes. Why is my math so bad? What just happened to me? My brain just stopped working. Sorry, I was at a class all day today, and my brain isn't working. 10 plus 9 is 19. 10 plus 8 is 18. So 19-18. Good grief. Yeah, so I gave that to I gave that to Nate, that second round. And then in this third round, the striking numbers are in favor of Landwehr, 27-17. And Onama had his moments, especially right at the end. He landed a ton of damage. So, like I was almost swayed. But Landwehr landed so much damage over that whole round. And Onama landed some really good shots too. That round was close. And if you gave it to Onama, I'm not mad. Which is where you get the tie, right? That takes it to 28-28 in favor of nobody, in favor of the draw, and that's when we had Mike Bell, and then the other two had it in favor of Landwehr, 29-27. So I think I like Mike Bell. I think he has a relatively nuanced. I don't always agree with him, but I can understand why he's making his decisions. Okay, so in that case, I'm down. I'm down with what Mike Bell said here. I had Nate winning this one. Also, it means, man, I guess I'm affected by seeing someone who's just completely exhausted and getting, beaten up. I feel like that counts for something. Like you're just breaking their will and you're preventing them from doing what they want to do, and you're closer to ending the fight because, like, that's what I feel like, right? Because even though Onama might have landed a harder shot here and there in this last round, Landwehr was closer to finishing the fight because Onama was just about to give up via exhaustion. I guess that's the way I would put it logically, why you see someone exhausted getting battered. Maybe not with fight ending, in each individual shot being a fight-ending shot, but the cumulative damage coming close to finishing it, because not only is it, you're not just hitting him with jabs at this point, you're hitting him with anything, and he's crumpling, and he's on the verge of being stopped via TKO. So that's why I have it counting for more, and that's my reasoning for why Landwehr won this last round. If you strictly go on punch-for-punch damage, and that's all you're doing, which by the letter of the law can be interpreted that way, you could maybe give this to Onama, and I'm okay with that. But I'm still leaning towards Landwehr, and I talked myself back into it. Real hard to do when I'm the one who said it in the first place, like a jackass. All right, let's talk about the next one here. Yazmin Jauregui versus Yazmin Lucindo. All right, both Iasmin and Yazmin. Okay, so I'm going to try and not screw this up. I'm going to say Yazmin. I'm going to say it real white-like so I can actually distinguish between these two women, and Lucindo. Okay? All right, so this is pretty crazy. They were both throwing. It goes to a decision, and Yazmin ends up getting the win here. It was pretty crazy. They're both throwing 5-piece combos. It was a close round in this first round, but I actually gave it to Yazmin just because she landed more. I thought she did a lot more. And yeah, I guess Lucindo could have been giving some credit for dropping her down a little bit in that first round. I don't think it was as bad as it looked. And Yazmin was ahead on the strikes, 31-25, so I actually gave that to her. And here in the second round, and the judges, 30-27, 29-28, 29-28. So they all in favor of Yazmin. Second round here, 30-23 in favor of Yazmin. This was a close. This one was also pretty close, but actually, this one wasn't close. Sorry, the first round was close, and the last one because of the damage that went back. But Lucindo, I noticed, was all Billy Badass in the first round, but after getting hit and cracked a couple times, she was a little bit more timid in this round. Even though she landed, she's thrown at the same amount of volume, 60, 59, and 62, round 1, 2, 3, respectively, as far as attempted strikes for Lucindo. So her output was virtually identical. But I think her effective striking went down because she was afraid to engage because of the damage that was coming back to her. So Yazmin definitely landed much better in this round, and the numbers weren't close from watching this. With a total strikes higher, is that what it was? No. It just did not look like those numbers were going to be close. They're closer than I thought. 30-23 is not a total blowout, but I gave that second round to Yazmin. I had her up 20-18, and this last round was close. But was leaning towards Lucindo. I don't know why. I'd have to go back and watch this one again. Sorry, it's escaping me. I think because like the strikes weren't any closer than they were in the previous round, 25-18. I think Lucindo landed some really good shots in this last round, like harder shots than Yazmin did. Lucindo was doing a much better job with those, so I gave her the last round. That's what I had at 29-28. But if you gave it 30-27, I'm not upset about that. It was just a little weird, weird to see that one play out the way it did after the first. Like I thought after the first round, it was just going to be a firefight the whole time, and then they quickly slowed down. And by the way, both of these women, this is their UFC debut. Fucking banger of a way to start out your UFC career. Super impressive from both women, and I'm very excited to watch them. Excellent skill level, very high. Oh, so good. All right, let's move on. Devin Clark versus Arzamat Murzakanov. Arzamat Murzakanov. So this fight was fun. Devin Clark got smashed. Yeah, dude, this one was weird. Devin Clark's dad is always yelling in the corner with his like a very distinct voice. So Murzakanov landed his left overhand a few times in that first round. He was really hitting hard. The striking numbers were relatively close, 6-7 in favor of Arzamat. So it wasn't a total blowout as far as numbers go, but the damage was all one way. Clark landed a beautiful fadeaway left high kick, and Murzakanov had to move in for the clinch, but the damage over the whole round had to go to Arzamat. Looking at the striking numbers, I don't know where those 6 strikes came from Clark. I didn't see that, and Arzamat I felt landed way more strikes than that. And he had the grappling advantage. I gave him that first round. The second round here, dude, Murzakanov landed a left hand early and he rocked Clark. And then 2 minutes in, he did it again. And then Clark just got battered and beaten in this round. This is for sure a 10-8. 41-5 in favor of Arzamat. This was not even close. It was actually kind of getting a little upsetting to watch in that second round. And then Murzakanov landed a left hand to the body that crumpled Clark, and he ended up getting the TKO finish. He hit him right, it looked like in like the solar plexus, and crumpled him, and Clark just couldn't get back up. Really impressive win for Arzamat here. He's 3-0 in the UFC. As you can see right here, he's got wins over Tefan Chukwi, Mateus Scheffel. Oh, back in 2021, he beat Mateus Scheffel, who is now fighting for, that's his only fight in the UFC. Mateus Scheffel, if you don't know, is going to be fighting for the PFL title. He's going to be fighting for that $1 million prize in a month and a half here, 2 months maybe. So, interesting. I didn't even remember him fighting in the UFC. That's how unmemorable he was. That's crazy. That's weird. And we're going to talk about this next fight here. Not exactly a close one, not much to talk about. So, Priscila Cachoeira versus Ariane Lipski. What to say? They got in a firefight, a 50-50 firefight, and they decided to just throw hooks at each other. Priscila got the better of it. She just fucking caught her multiple times and put her ass down and then finished up with a TKO. And dude, I mean, there was no strategy in this at all. At bantamweight, this was? She's not ranked. Neither one of them, obviously, but dude, it's fun to watch for as long as it lasted. It was really, like, it was weird to see because it's like, you don't see this very often anymore where two people are just like, forget all of our skills and all of our training. Let's just stand here and throw our fists around in like big looping circles in the air and we'll figure it out. It's so freaking, like, it's unusual to see that nowadays. And that's what they decided to do, and Priscila got the better of it. Fun to watch while it lasted, though. All right. Bruno Silva versus Gerald Meerschaert. This is the very first fight on the main card here. Gerald Meerschaert getting the better of this one. getting the guillotine in round 3, and he did not take a beating in this fight. So nice to see that Gerald Meerschaert decided that he's a good striker as well, and he's the one, he can also do damage on the feet. So the fight started with the guys going back and forth, 1-for-1 low kicks, body kicks back and forth. Gerald got a takedown and laid down some ground and pound for like 2 minutes. So if you look at the striking numbers, 12-10 in favor of Gerald here. Plus the control time and that advantage, I definitely give that first round to Meerschaert. Notice he did not take a lot of damage. This is unusual for Meerschaert. Usually he stands in there, takes a lot of strikes, and then tries to figure his way out of that problem instead of just not putting himself in that position to begin with. Woo! All right. And then in the second round, man, Bruno came out just swinging crazy, just winging these giant-ass punches, missing completely, so stupid, and, he wasn't landing. Totals were 19-12 in favor of Gerald in the second round. Dude, Gerald's landing really good body kicks with the left leg, going low. He was landing left body kicks, and then he would go low with it sometimes as well. Really good. Bruno looked compromised, and his leg, he wasn't working well on the feet, and it was. I think this is the best. I had him up 20-18. This is the best I've ever seen Meerschaert on his feet. No joke. I think this is some of the best striking I've ever seen from him because he wasn't exhausted throwing just heavy shots, heavy tight shots like he has, and he's rocked people like that before. He was ducking, and it wasn't exactly as defensively sound as it could be because he was leaning back to avoid some punches. But the thing is, it was working, and he was doing well, and he wasn't taking damage, and he transitioned that stuff into takedowns, and here in the third round, Gerald landed a left hook and tight that put Bruno fucking down. Like, he actually, in this third round, was going for submissions, and he was trying to get the finish. Actually, there was a ton of that in the Landwehr fight. I forgot to mention that. He kept trying to go for submissions, and he couldn't do it. But no, anyway, he wasn't going for a bunch of submissions. He ended up landing this fucking like really tight left hook, and he put Bruno on his fucking ass, and he followed him down there and immediately cinches up a guillotine and gets a submission finish. Beautiful finish for Meerschaert. Looked excellent. If he fought like this every time, we could see, like, I've been critical of him in the past as never, like, he's like a gatekeeper. I think with this kind of skill and discipline, we could definitely see him in the top 10, top 5. I think he has cracked the top 15 before, but at middleweight, I think it's a possibility, right? I don't think he's ever going to be champion with his skill set, but he does have the skills and the toughness to make it with the right matchups, getting into the top 10. So, also a little bit of credit to Brendan Fitzgerald, one of the announcers, calling it the club and sub. I love that one. I love the club and sub. There's the ground and pound. Where's the sprawl and brawl, slang and bang. Well, now there's the club and sub. I love it. I really do. You hit the guy real hard, you get him dazed, and then you get the submission finish. So excellent win for Gerald Meerschaert. Fantastic fight. Really fun to watch, too. All right, that is it. That is the main card. If you're looking for the prelims, it's going to be on the next video. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for spending time here. It means a lot to me. Subscribe to the channel if you like this stuff because I post videos about this stuff 2 or 3 videos a week, and it means a lot to me. So thank you for stopping. Thank you for watching this. I love y'all. Have a great week.